Hello friends, welcome to my channel PC Job Kimberlite. Mechanical principle. This is the topic we are going to see today. This topic will be there in the structural geology. And in this we are going to see the materials of the outer shell of the earth. The simple topic is that in that just we are going to see the atoms, what are the properties of liquid, gas and solids are there. Then the next one, the what are the forces are there. Then what is the composition, resolution is there. What is the stress, what is the strain, and the last one, what is the confining pressure or hydrostatic pressure. I hope this will be a simple one, and this is the basic topic which is there for the structural geology. I am a Dr. Sajid Hundekar, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Geology, Pune College Arts Commerce Science, Camp Pune, and this is the based on the syllabus of SPPU, Savitribai Phule Pune University, the TYBSc, Structural Geology. Now the syllabus has been revised of FYBSc. Now this topic will be added over in the SYBSc now. So this will be there now. This year it will be there in SY as well as in TYBSc. Let's start for the first simple topic what we have. In that we are going to see what is atoms. What is atom? Atom is the the matter is composed of the atoms. And what is the size? It is a very small, tiny size is there. And if you see the size, it is 2 raised to 10 raised to minus 7 millimeters. 2 raised to minus 7. 2 raised to 2 into 10 raised to minus 7 millimeters. If you count the numbers, point, there will be zeros which are there. There will be 6 zeros. And 2 millimeter, they are in the diameter. That is the, and from this atom is of a different size. Whatever we have, this atom is there. In that we have the different uh, material also there. Say example, a mass of uranium is the heaviest atom. And what is there? It is 236 times greater than that what we have the hydrogen. So hydrogen is a very light as compared to the uranium. That is, the uranium is 236 times is the heavier than the hydrogen. That if you make the comparison, when you compare, if you make out this, and what is the atom is there? Atom is now tiny part, and in that also we are going to have the different parts. What different parts is there? It is composed of protons, neutron, electrons, and the positrons. These are the things which have been available in that particular atoms. So protons, positrons, neutrons, and electrons, they are going to form as an atom. An atomic structure is essentially important for the geologists for investigating the radioactivity, the problem that is generated to the heat of the earth will be there, and that is the important one. The atom is the smallest unit of the significance is there. Now we'll see the compare the gas, liquid, solid. But once you're going to study the rocks, then these are the things which you're going to come across, and you should know the exact the properties of the gas, liquid, and solids are there. Yes, whatever we have at the surface, the atoms combines to form gases, liquid, solid. Whatever we have, the atoms are there on the surface. They have been in the three forms. One is gas, second one liquids, and third one is in the solids. So they are in the all three states are available. Atmospheric pressure of the water, if you make out, is a liquid. Water is a liquid. Now I can say 0 to 100 degrees centigrade. So temperature will be varies from 0 to 100 if you make out centigrade if you make out. But now that water, if it is there at 100 degree, you assume now it will be become a gas. It will be gas above that at around 100 degree, and below 0 degree it will be freeze into a solid, and that is going to form as a ice will going to form. So below 0 degree that will be going to form as a solid, but at the exactly at a 0 degree ice and water exist. Yes, the both will be there, existing will be there. So that is the equilibrium condition is there. Similarly, at 100 degree, whatever the water is there, it will be going to form as a gas. But at the same time, the steams are also there. So they are the in the equilibrium at 100 degree temperature. The whatever we have the liquid is there, that liquid is going to give you the steam will be there, and water form. So that both will be there at 100 degree. The gas, the atoms are rapid in motion. They don't, this gas, whatever gas atoms are there, they are rapidly moving. They are independent. They are moving independently because they have been not orderly arranged. There is a packing is there. They are not arranged packer. Packing is not. The forces are mutual action of the forces of moment is very less in the gases. The moment, the attraction is very less, and gases have high mobility as compared to the what we have, the liquid and the solids. In a liquid, atom forces are strong. In the liquids, atom forces are strong enough to keep the atoms together, but there is no orderly arrangement. Wherever you put the liquid, that particular shape will be taken by that particular liquid. Water will put into the glass or into the bottle. Anywhere you can put it out. That particular of the object shape or it will be filled by that water. So you don't have its orderly arrangement. So it is a only limited order will be there. A liquid is fairly mobile. Yes, if you throw it out along the slope, water will be flow out. But solid is a very tough. It is a rigid, very strong. And these are there are the two kinds of solid. One is crystalline solid, and then the crystalline solid. Then on the crystalline solid are the atoms have orderly arrangement. In the solid, there is a order arrangement. Simple, we have salt is there. Yes, the normal salt we have. It will showing you the somewhat a cube in shape, the bigger in size. Now data and all we are going to get. It is a very fine powdery. But earlier one, there will be a big salt will be coming. That is the NaCl. The composition of that salt is NaCl is there, and it is composed of Na and Cl. One molecule is there, and they have been related, and they are going to have exactly the form of NaCl. That is the what we have. The salt is there. It is the cube shape. The quartz is another example of crystalline solid. Quartz is another crystal solid. Every atom of the silicon is atomic size of that common salt. It has been packed properly. The large sphere represent the chlorine atom, and the smaller will be given by the sodium atom and two atoms of the oxygen. The atoms are associated in such a way that the form hexagonal pattern. That is, the pattern will going to form as the hexagonal. The non-crystalline solids, there is orderly arrangement of the atoms. Non-crystalline solid, there is no orderly arrangement. That is the gas. In vitreous solid, yes, in vitreous solid, what we have, the gas or gases are the liquids that are cooled rapidly, that atoms have been unable to organize themselves into a systematic pattern. And temporarily, vitreous solids are supercooled liquid. Vitreous solids, which are there, they are supercooled one, and by some of the classified as a liquid rather than the solid. Window glass is a common example of vitreous solid. Obsidian is a volcanic glass. That is a natural example. So window glass is a common example of vitreous solid, and obsidian is a volcanic glass, and it is the natural example. Amorphous solid does not have a definite arrangement of the atoms. Cooling of a liquid, however, cannot be properly considered as a vitreous solid. Organic substances are commonly amorphous, and our two certain minerals are of opal. The outer shell of the earth consists of predominantly of solids. Yes, outer what we have, the crust is there, it is made up of the solid one, but gases and liquid are also present. We know that composition what we have. So whatever the outer part, if you make out there, the rocks are also there, water is also there, and gases are also present. So all these three have been present, and their importance is very, very important as the time and space if we consider. For the life, all the three are required. The groundwater and active volcanoes attest to the importance of the liquid at the present time, and the igneous rock and the intrusive bodies indicate abundance of liquid in the past. That is the whatever the eruptions which are taken place by the through the volcanoes, the magma has been poured out. So in that we're going to have the gases, liquid, as well as solid material has been there. The gases are present in the outer shell of the earth, are sticking manifested in the region where petroleum are found vast quantities of gas or surrounding that will be there. within this, and they are expelled by the active volcanoes. Gases will be come out through the active volcanoes also. And does the gas occupy great underground chambers? Never. However, does the gas occupy the natural gas associated with the petroleum occupy small pore spaces, fractures in the solid rock, and gas volcanic effectively from the magma. The outer shell of the earth consists of the solid rocks. What solid rock we have? Igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. And the structural geologist is interested in mechanical properties of the rock. When we are just going to see that the structures, how the structure fold, fall, joint, whatever the things are there, how these things are being found. So what we have, the structural geologist see that rock, and he is going to see, and from there he will be interested in which forces are acting on that, and he wanted to find out the origin. So earlier days, the geologists are called as detectives, because already the things that happen now with the help of the present, the whatever the phenomena which are happening on the surface, on the basis of that he has to apply and find out the how these particular things have been happened. Present is the key to the past, so this is the rule has been there, and we have been whatever the thing we have to find out, this is the way we have to make out, is the rock is well consolidated or not. We have to find out. Poorly cemented sandstone will be weaker. If you make out the comparison within the rock itself, if you make out the comparison, sandstone and the quartzite. Yes, one is the quartzite is the metamorphic rock, and whereas the sandstone is the sedimentary rock. Now in the sandstone, what is happening? The sand sediments will be there. It is cemented by the siliceous material, calcareous material, aluminous material, whatever the material is there, it will be a cementing material, and that is going to form you a sandstone. Or sometimes ferruginous material. Ferruginous sandstone is also there. So there, the cementing material is a very weak, and due to that, the rock is having weak as compared the strength. If you compare, it is a very weak as compared to the quartzite. What is happening? Quartzite is the metamorphose process, metamorphose of the whatever the sandstone is there. Yes, it is due to heat, pressure, and chemical active fluid. These pre-existing rock are molecule by molecule melt and recrystallize. So it is a new phase of the rock has been formed. So sandstone is going to give you quartzite. If the white sandstone is there, white quartzite. If it is somewhere we have the reddish one, then the pinkish one we are going to make out, or some like that we are going to have the colors of that quartzite. So quartzite, what is happening? Here we have the crystals are there, minerals are there, and there is no interspace between the crystals. So it is a very strong, it is very rigid as compared to what we have the sandstone. The similar one comparison, if you make out a thin bedded strata, a thin bedded sedimentary rock is weaker than thick bedded formation. So that is the normal one what we have. Or similar one, a thick massive limestone. What we have the limestone we have the cleavages are there. Yes, along the one set cleavage it will be take out. Thick massive limestone will be a stronger than a thin lava flow. But in the if you make out the analysis over there, we'll find out that limestone is very soft as compared to the what we have the sample. If you take the sample of this lava, then and whatever the sample of the limestone, we'll find out the limestone will be a soft as compared to what we have the lava flow. A thick massive sandstone can be stronger than a highly fractured granite. Granite is a very strong one, but now if it is fractured one, heavily fractured, then he will become weaker, and the massive sandstone will become the very strong one. That is the comparison thickness, and on that you can make out. The fractures may be readily healed. Specimens of quartzite may be stronger than the limestone, but the fractures in the quartzite heal less readily than those on the limestones. Now the next one, very important one, force and acceleration. What is a force? Whatever the force you apply, yes, applied due to this, what is happening on any particular object? If we apply a pressure, then due to that, what is happening? That particular object, that object will be in a motion. Yes, force is that which changes or tend to change the motion of a body. Say example, a four-wheeler is there. If you just pull it from backside, then what is happening? What due to your pressure, it will be start moving now. It is stationary, but due to your force, that vehicle is started in a motion. So that is the force. So the locomotive of a train exerts the force that moves the car. The force is defined by its magnitude and direction. Yes, whatever the magnitude, how much force you have been applied, and in which particular direction you have been applied, that is a very, very important. So due to that, what is happening? Whatever the force is there, it will always be marked by the arrow and the length, which is the proportional to the magnitude. How much it will be traveled depending upon how much you have been given the force. So that is there. So the direction of which indicates the direction in which the force is acting. And what is the unbalanced force? Balanced force and unbalanced force. These are the simple, and that might be in a SY. They may be going to ask you a definition. An unbalanced force is one that causes a change in the motion of a body. Then what is the balance? Whatever force you apply, the body remain in its inertia, in its motion. Body will not be in a moment. So that is the balanced one and unbalanced force. Now the next one is acceleration. Now, whatever the force you apply, due to that, the body will be in a motion. The acceleration is the rate of velocity. How much speed that particular vehicle is moving, that will be called as the velocity. That is called as the acceleration. Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. If a train starts from the rest and acquire a speed of 20 miles per hour, at the end of 10 minutes, the acceleration will be around 2 miles per hour per minute. That will be the per hour per minute will be there. A body drop from a high building. A body has been dropped from a high building. Then what is happening? Once you are going to drop out, what is happening? There will be initially less speed. But as we go towards the gravitational force, it is pull off and the body will be accelerated very fast. And when it is come down on the ground, it is a higher speed. And the rate may be approximately, let's say, from 32 feet per, that will be there in that particular, if depending upon that. Now this is what we have, the important one: composition and resolution. These will be asked important question, and 100% for TY. This is there in your examination, so you have to prepare. This will be the topic for whether it is going to ask by the examiner for 4 marks, or whether it is going to ask for the nowadays it will be of 4 marks. So that will be there. And now the SYBSc, this will be added now, so that depending upon the examiner, it might be a 4 marks, or whatever the course skeleton paper is there, still it is not come out skeleton paper. Depending upon that, it will be a important one. The balance force which exert where no change in the motion occurs. If a train moving at a constant velocity, the fractional resistance of the track and air equals to the force. When the train is in the speed, then what is happening? Whatever the friction which has been given, there the friction is there between the track and the wheels. So that will be equal to that particular force. If a man pushes against a wall, yes, example, if you pushes the wall, then what's happening? It cannot be moved. Or from the opposite side also, if it is there, then what is happening? The same thing. So nothing is going to happen. So that is there. The unit force in the centimeter gram second system, that is the unit of the force is given centimeter gram second system, that is called as the Seeger system, or simply we called as or measure as a dyne. Dyne is the force which is acting upon a mass on 1 gram causes an acceleration of 1 centimeter. Yes, the force, the dyne is a force which acting upon a mass of 1 gram, acting upon a mass of 1 gram, and due to that, what is happening? Acceleration has been taken place. How much? 1 centimeter per second, per second. That is an important one, and that will be the dyne will be there. Most problems comforting with the structural geology, what is there? That assuming the balancing the force between the whatever, because the velocity of the rock bodies is small and the acceleration may be negligible. The faults, the motion causing earthquake may so rapid, and that is the acceleration is very, very important at that particular point. Yes, now the very important short note we will start, that is the composition and resolution of forces. Resultant is the single force. Resultant is the single force that produces the same result as the two or more forces will be act at a particular object. It may be represented by a diagonal parallelogram constructed on two arrows that has been represented in the two forces. So here we have the simple diagram we have been taken. The equilibrium in the force is necessary to balance the two or more forces. So here what we have, say the figure number 2. This is the figure number 2, OW. This is the OW is the force necessary to balance. This is the force we are there to make this force balance. We have OX and OY. These are the we have the two necessary forces to maintain the whatever the force which is applied, and the equal resultant will be there on OZ. The resultant will be there. The equal resultant of two forces acting in the opposite direction. The process of finding the resultant, the process of finding the resultant of two or more forces is called as composition of forces. This much you have to be draw the diagram, and this much you have to be mention that whatever the force is there, that will be counter this OW force. We have OX and OY, and these the resultant of this OX and OY will be there. So example, on this OX we have 8 pound, and here OY we have 12 pounds. So ultimately the resultant will be there on this OZ is a 14 one. So that is there. So we'll see that how they have been calculated now here in this particular diagram. The force may be represented by vector. Yes, this is the force. The been always been given in a measure in the vector, and it is a line oriented in the direction in which the force is operating, and it is proportional to the length to the intensity of the force. Two or more forces may be act in the different direction at a different point. Yes, at a point, as in the figure now you can see here we have OW, this is one, and where we have OX and OY. OX we have 8 point, and OY we have the 12 pounds. So they are acting at what point? At O point. OX 8 pound will be exerting the pressure this side, and OY, that is the 12 point, that is the exerting in this particular direction. The same result would be produced by OZ. The same result will be produced by the OZ, and that is the 14 pounds. Yes, that is the OZ is the resultant of the OX and OY. That will be been shown with this diagram. Yes, conversely, the effect of a single force may be considered in the terms of two or more forces that produce the same result. Now, in the figure 3a, here we have the figure 3a, OY, this is the OY, and this is the OZ, would be produced the OZ, sorry, OX, that will going to make out the OX. Then you can see in the B, OW and OV going to result OX. Similarly, the C diagram, OU and OT going to result OX. Yes, these diagrams, and just one line here to be explained. Now the next diagram which is there, we are going to see in the next one. A single force may thus be resolved into two components acting in the defined direction. Say here it is a very important one, because here we are come to the resolution of forces. A single force may thus be resolved because two forces are there which are pulling or having the force in the different direction, and due to this we going to get the resultant one. So single force may be thus resolved into two components acting in a single defined direction by constructing a parallelogram whose diagonal represent the given force and whose sides have the directions of the component. The process of finding the components, the process of finding the component of a single force. This is the definition. The process of finding the components of the single force is called as resolution of forces. And this diagram we have been try to explain separately, so that you can get the simplified now, because this is every year it is there in the TY. If you take out the last 50-20 years question paper, you will find out that this will be there in the examination. See now in the this is a figure 3D. the force of OP. Now I can see where is the OP. This is the force OP. How much it is there? 12 pounds. Impings on the line LM. This is the line LM. Yes, to find the value of this component parallel to LM. That is the LM we are given. The component OQ, you can see the component OQ has a value about 11 pounds, as can be determined from the scale of the figure. OR, you can see this OR, which is the component perpendicular to LM. This is the perpendicular to the LM, has a value of 5 pounds. Now you can see the bigger way we are going to make out. So this is a figure 4, inclined force, OW. This is very important, OW now. This OW is there in which particular plane it is there, vertical plane, say O, V, W and X. Within this vertical plane, you have this inclined phase. O, Z is O, Z, W and V. Yes. So here I made mistake. From there, yes, W has to be there. Then the V should be later on. Otherwise, you can go O, V, W and X. That will be the correct one. So slightly I made the mistake over there. So you can make the correct. May be resolved into two components. What is the two components which are resolved now? There will be two resolved components. One is OZ, and second one is the OV. That is this one, and they are going to resolve into this. So there will be, so vertical is there. In that vertical, what is happening? One will be there in the lower side, and second one will be there on that particular this side. So we have the two resolved one, OX and OV. And now what is happening? This OV which is there, it is in a horizontal plane. What is that? O, Y, V and X. O, X, or you can take O, X, V and Y. So that is there. So the horizontal plane, on that the V is there. Now this V again resolved into two, OY and OX. It is going to resolve into OX and OY. Any force, regardless of its value and its inclination, it may be similarly resolved into three components parallel to X, Y, Z axis. So here we have X axis, here we Y axis, and here it is the Z axis. So that we have been going to conclude from that particular diagram. Now the next one, very important one, for 2 marks, there will be a definition will be asked, the stress. Whatever the I have a stress. What is that stress? Stress means a pressure. The pressure is there in your mind. Whatever the work is given now, if that work has not been done, then what is happening? The time is going up, and now whatever the time is left, now within that you have to complete that task. But if it is not done now, then the pressure will be generated. What? Stress will be formed. Stress is nothing but the pressure. If the cube lie on one above the other upon a table, yes, one above the other, the cubes are there, then what is happening? The upper cube is creating a pressure because it is having a weight. So weight will be exerted on the lower one. So lower what we have, lower word or the pressure. Likewise, the lower cube pushes the upward. There is a upthrust force will be there. Say example, if I put a 10 kg weight on my head, then what is happening? Pressure will be generated, and then there will be opposite force. What I wanted to balance that force, so I am again giving the opposite force. Then only at that particular weight will be there. My head might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. If it is not bearable, then what's happening? Your body will be now started showing the symptoms that it is now unbearable. So the symptoms will be there. Your hands will be shaking, sweating will be started. Then you have been slowly shifting your head, and ultimately you take your head. So that is there. So stress go on increasing, and ultimately the symptoms will be there. You take out your head. The same thing is going to happen. So likewise, so what we are going to write the definition. This mutual action and reaction along the face will be constitute the stress. Stress is the pressure exerted on a body. Moreover, along in my imaginary plane within the cube, there will be a small similar action and reaction. So if you want to make out or visualize that, then within that cube, we have to make out a 1 centimeter or 1 inches into 1 inches or 1 feet into 1 feet exactly cube, and in that we have to imagine ideal ellipsoid we have to make out, and in that we have to make out the axis x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, or the least axis, intermediate axis, and principal axis, and the pressure which will be there. So if you have been applying the pressure from one side, from all sides, then how this particular object is going to behave. So we have to see that. Then the observation we have to make out. So that is the one particular practical is there for the uh, engineering geology. In that engineering, the civil engineers, those who are going for them, this is the practical is there. So here what we have, the imaginary plane may be horizontal, vertical, inclined, whatever the table is there. We assume that now it is a horizontal, but might be you may make as a vertical or inclined. So thinking on that, what all position, all possibilities we have to make out, and the force due to the weight of their part of the cube that lies above the plane is directed vertically on the direction. The force would be directed normally horizontal. If the weight is there, it is pulling perpendicular to that horizontal surface. Along the inclined plane, what is happening? The vertical directed force will be resolved into normal component and the tangential component. So that is going to resolve if the incline will be there. So again, the same diagram we have been put over here. The turn, the OP, yes, this is the OP will be a vertical, and LM would be represent as LM. Where is LM is there? LM. This LM will represent the inclined plane. Then OR the normal component. OR will be the normal component, and OQ will be the tangential. When the LM will be make it as an inclined surface. The normal component is a compressive stress. Whatever the normal component is there, this will be a compressive stress. And if it tend to push together the material on opposite side, so compressive stress, it will be pushing that object towards the each other. So that is a compression for one. The normal component is a tensile, means the pulling away, the body will be pulling apart. The tensile component is generally called as shearing stress or shear. Now, the stress difference is at any point in a body is the difference between the greatest compressive stress and the least compressive stress. So between these two, the difference will be there, and that will going to give you the stress difference calculation and all that. We are not going to supposed to do it in whether in SY or TY. It will be there in the MSc, or where you are going to have the engineering part. So we don't have, but still whatever the conventions are there, how they have been uh, express the units that we are going to see. The physics one persons are there. The stress as per the force per unit area is stated in how pounds per square inch. The physics people, they will be describe the stress or measure the stress in pounds per square inch, or tons per square foot, or kilograms per square centimeter, or similar convenient units they going to use it out. Similar one, engineers will use unit stress for the force per unit area. That will be the force per unit area they are going to take out. And many geologists use stress as synonymous with the external force. Yes, now here what we are going to do, desirable or distinguish between the external force that is applied on a body and resulting internal forces that constitute the stress. Now the external force which is there, we have the hydrostatic pressure and differential forces. So differential forces, we'll see first the hydrostatic pressure, or it is called as confining pressure. The pressure on a body, when the body, the whatever the body, where the pressure is there on a body, when the body is immersed in a liquid. Hydro means water, static means pressure. From all the once the body is immersed in the water, from all side the body is with the same stress. From all side, whatever the force will be there on that object, will be uniform, then that particular pressure will be called as hydrostatic pressure, and it is uniform throughout. So this is also called as a confining pressure. So it is confined. The pressure will be there from all sides. Then it is confined. For example, you're doing an experiment in our lab. So you have been applying a pressure from one direction, but other side nothing is there. So it is not a confining. So it is a directed pressure. The pressure we are exerting in a one direction. But from all side, when you're going to apply the pressure, then that pressure will be called as hydrostatic pressure or confining. This will be asked as a write a short note. This will be defined hydrostatic pressure or confining pressure. So this is there. The depth of a mile or in the ocean or pressure equal to the weight of column of a salt water. Yes, whatever the 1 mile what we have the salt is there, whatever the pressure is exerting, that will be there. The pressure will be 3,37,900 pounds per square foot. Yes, a simple example, that will be 3,37,900 pounds per square foot will be there, that is, or 2346 pounds per square inch. Every square inch of the surface of a small sphere at this depth would be under pressure of 2346, that is 2346 pounds per square inch, such as the undirected all side pressure is called as hydrostatic pressure. Rocks in the lithosphere, rocks which are there in the lithosphere, because of the weight, they are exerting the pressure on the downward side. But what is happening? From all sides, we have the rocks inside, so they are under the same pressure. Weight of a column of a rock in 1 mile high will several times of that equally columns of water which is there in the similar one, that will be there. So weight of column of a granite. Okay, here given example, weight of a column of a granite 1 mile high, that is above the surface, and one that will give you 1 inch square would be 6,178 pounds. So that is the how they have been calculated. So that has been given. The force extended on the top and bottom sphere, how the greater. So that will be there. So we don't have to be bother about this one. So that what we have seen the definition, it is the simple one. Confining pressure increases with the depth. If you go on as a greater, whatever the thickness of that particular water is there, go on increasing, and pressure will be definitely going to increase. And I think this is the uh, uh, we are going to conclude this particular small topic, and that is the introductory one. But from there, you are going to have the composition, resolution, stress, strain, hydrostatic pressure, or confining pressure. These are the very important definition will be asked in your examination. So prepare in your examination as per the now this will be the UGC syllabus for SYBSE. Yes, now a uniform syllabus has been started all over India. So now this will be there everywhere. So whenever you have a doubt, go through this my site and see this video and try to clear your concept. So thanks for watching my video. If you like, press the button like, share my video in your friend circles, subscribe the video so that you can get my newer and newer videos when I'm going to upload you. And without fail, write down the comments. That is a very important one. Write down the comments. Thanks. Have a nice day.